Sup, guys? It's Toad back with you yet again. This is Better Off Dead Thursday, May 22nd. Yesterday, the plays that I gave out, because of course I'm not actually betting them right now, which kind of made me angry 2 days ago when I went 4-0. But yesterday was 1-2, and one of the losses was the Houston Astros on the moneyline favorite price, which maybe shouldn't have done that. Maybe it seemed too easy, a little bit too obvious. I thought it was a huge pitching mismatch. Hunter Brown, and then he gets two-run padding right away and immediately blows it, and they wind up losing the game. It's like, I'm looking at the game, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, it's 2-0 after the top of the first. I'm like, all right, Houston off to a good start here, and then nope, it's over right away. You just throw the 2 runs right back, die, whatever. The Baltimore-Milwaukee first 5-inning under made me feel like kind of a genius because that one got there. As the game was 1-1 at the end of the 5th inning. Both starters did pretty well, and then the bullpens got massively used, and they both totally sucked. And I think I looked at the final score because I was just watching. I'm like, okay, yeah, the first 5, it was 1-1. That's all I saw. And then I saw the final score was like 8-4 or something. I'm like, what? How is that even possible? The bullpens were atrocious in that game. So that's one of the ones that makes you feel really, really good. Like that first 5, that was absolutely the way to go in that one. Baltimore finally got a win, shockingly. And then the New York Knicks, I mean, they pulled the Boston Celtics, I guess, for lack of a better term, as they had almost a 20-point lead, I think, in the 4th quarter. I think with like 6-7 minutes left, they were up by that much. They had a huge lead throughout the second half. Looked like they were going to run away with it, and then they completely imploded. And as ESPN pointed out, according to their metrics at least, which may be a little bit off, but the Knicks had a 99.7% chance to win the game outright with 3-something left, 3:20 left in the game or something, when they were up, I think, still 11 at that point. I think they were up 9 with under a minute left, and they still wound up losing the game. And Halliburton hit a game-tying shot that was almost a game-winning shot. I guess his foot was just on the three-point line where he kind of penetrated and then pulled back out. I mean, that sounds sexy, but he did that, kind of jumped back on, just flipped it up at the buzzer, down 2 in regulation. Not a good shot, and it bounced, flew up in the air, and then came down and actually went in. I don't know if you guys saw that, but you can go find the replay of that. It was one of the craziest endings to regulation that you'll see, and then Indiana won in overtime. Absolutely crazy. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Knicks, so I'm not upset by it, but I gave out the Knicks as a play there, and it looked like that should have gotten there. I mean, that was a crazy implosion in that game. Let's move on to today. I'm going to give out a play in NBA, NHL, WNBA, and only one in baseball. I really don't like the baseball card. So NBA, we're going to be very zigzag heavy, man. This is a game 2 in the NBA and in the NHL. We're going T-Wolves plus the points here, man. I think this is the right way to go in this spot. I talked about how I thought the series might play out. I liked the Thunder in game 1. I was right about that. I gave that out on the show as a play. It looked bad in the first half. I expected the Thunder to actually come out well in the first half, and that was not really the case, as the Thunder actually had a really bad first half, and the T-Wolves only led by 4 at halftime, and then the Thunder went on a huge run and just completely flipped the game around. Went like on a 17-2 run, got a double-digit lead out of that, and then just never looked back. But I think the T-Wolves are a lot better than what they looked in the second half in that game. They were in that game into the second half, and some of their players are getting in foul trouble. Edwards was in foul trouble, so I think he couldn't, play as physically as he probably wanted to. McDaniels, I think. I get McDaniels and Williams. Too many guys named Jaden and Jalen. Like, that's everybody's name in basketball. I don't even know anymore. But McDaniels, I believe, on the T-Wolves really had to play a few minutes in that game because he was in major foul trouble. So if the foul calls are a little bit less lopsided in this one, which I know the Thunder are probably going to get calls because they're at home, but if the NBA is kind of scripting this and they want this to be a longer series, that might not be the case as much in this game. The line is around the same as it was in game 1, a little bit higher, actually. It is down from 8 to 7.5 right now. 56% of the tickets on the Thunder, 67% of the cash coming in on the T-Wolves. So this time, the money is coming in on the T-Wolves. I agree with it. And like I mentioned with the zigzag, when you have kind of a lopsided result in game 1, you want to look for reasons like, well, should there be some like regression in the next game, in game 2. And I think that's what we're going to get here. One reason alone is just that when there's a lopsided result, the other team is the team that makes adjustments. So Minnesota is going to be the team that can make all the adjustments here. The Thunder, I mean, what can you do? Everything worked for you in the second half. I know SGA had a really slow start to the game the first half. Good second half. I mean, they couldn't have played any better in the second half. So I think the T-Wolves are going to be the team that are going to make adjustments here. They're an experienced team, man. They got experienced personnel, experienced coaching. I think they actually have a decent matchup against the Thunder, too, because the T-Wolves do have some interior size there that could still kind of give the Thunder some problems. So I do like the T-Wolves here. They do play good defense, which is another reason why you want to look towards potentially grabbing the points in particular games, although I know I didn't in game 1 again because I liked the Thunder having that momentum, and I thought the T-Wolves had just been off for too long. But now what that means is the T-Wolves are probably the more rested team here at this point because they didn't play for so long and now they have a game under their belt. The Thunder have played more games in this recent stretch than the T-Wolves have, including a game 7, even though I know I pointed out going into game 1 here that they didn't exert themselves that much. But I think the T-Wolves are going to be the more rested team here. The money's coming in towards the under as well. 80% of the tickets on the over, 51% of the cash on the under, even though the total got driven up from 213.5 to 216.5. I wouldn't disagree with the under either, although I think the game 1, I'm pretty sure went under because the T-Wolves only scored in the 80s. But when you have a playoff game with 2 defenses like this, I mean, a lot of times the under is the way to go, although I know, like I said, the first game did go under. The total's not really that high, and the Thunder do like to try to push the pace. And if both of these teams are a little bit more tired coming into this one, I wouldn't really trust the under, but I definitely like the T-Wolves. Now, hold on. We get the NBA schedule up here so we can look at this game here. I should have pulled the schedules up already, but the other reason why I like this is that I think we're going to see some progression back to a mean here because Minnesota had an awful shooting game in this game, and we're going to see some regression, I think, because Oklahoma City shot awesome. I mean, look at these stats. I mean, a lot of the stats were close, except Minnesota shot a ridiculously low 34.9% from the field, 29.4% from three-point range. I mean, what are they, the Celtics against the Knicks? Yeah, I know Oklahoma City plays good defense, but I don't think we're going to see Minnesota shoot that poorly again. So we should see a little bit of progression back to a mean for Minnesota. And Oklahoma City shot out of their minds, especially in the second half. They weren't missing anything. 50% from the field, 52.4% from 3. And that was including SGA shooting very poorly in the first half. I had this game on. I was like, man, OKC is like not even missing anymore. So those are really high percentages as well. So both teams had outlier percentages. So I do really think we're going to see a lot of regression and progression in both different directions here. The Minnesota can't possibly shoot this poorly again, and Oklahoma City unlikely to shoot this hot again, this well again. So I think, yeah, the T-Wolves, grab the points with the T-Wolves in that game. And if you can, obviously get the 7.5 or better than that, because as I point out, in the NBA, in basketball, 7 is a key number. You want to get on the right side of 7 because that is the point when teams stop intentionally fouling with the 3-possession threshold. Scott, what's up, man? Uke streams. I mean, I do have a Uke YouTube channel, which is covered in Uke. I post videos on there, but I really haven't for a while. I mean, there really are not a lot of videos up there. You think I should do like what Ass Butt does and do live ukulele crap and try to cover stuff and everything will just be a mess? I'm thinking about it. I mean, I want to do something that's going to get like a ton of views, but I don't know if that would. I mean, it just seems so ridiculous. But and uke is like, it's never been my primary instrument either, so it's like so ridiculous. I just kind of picked it up like a few years, well, not a few years ago, but several years ago now. I'm like, well, I always kind of wanted to play guitar, but I have fat, short, stubby fingers, so I'm like, I don't know. We'll play the fat man's instrument, the uke. I was always mostly just a vocalist, and I write music. I do have a bunch of original music that people don't know about on here, but yeah, the uke stuff is just, I guess, made people laugh and whatever. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'll think about it. All right, NHL. We're gonna have another zigzag recommendation here, and that is Carolina. Remember, I'm not actually betting these right now. I'm just giving them out as picks, but I would be betting these if I was betting normally like I typically do. I like Carolina to zigzag here against Florida. Carolina down from minus 125 to minus 124, actually. So you might be able to get better than minus 128 right now. 65% of the tickets, 84% of the cash coming in on Carolina. I think the money is indeed coming in on Carolina here. Game one, I mean, I was right on it. I recommended Florida as a play in game one. I was right about Dallas last night, too, by the way. That was an implosion by Edmonton yesterday. Crazy. Edmonton was up 3-1, I think, in the third period and lost 6-3. Crazy. I mean, I was kind of glancing over at the game. I'm like, oh, crap, it's tied now. And then I see the next score, 6-3. I'm like, oh, my God. All right, but Carolina, yeah. I mean, they're a really good home team, and I don't think they're going to let this 5-2 result stand, man. I mean, this is kind of a ridiculous result. And you can see Carolina coming into this game 31-9-1 at home. Extremely good home record. And the Panthers were around 500 on the road. So I don't really think the Panthers are going to get both of these games on the road here, even though I know the Panthers already got the first game on the road. But I think this is a bit of an outlier, man. You look at the stats here, Carolina had 13 more shots, although granted that was because they were losing the game, so they started kind of frenetically shooting, but they also were the more physical team slightly, and they won 60% of the faceoffs. The thing that gives me some pause, I guess, would be that Florida had way more penalty minutes, and they still won, so that means that Carolina was not capitalizing on power plays in this game, but I still think this is going to turn around in this game. I mean, Carolina, they're almost as good as Florida is, in my opinion. And both teams have a lot of balance, even though I think Florida is the better offensive team. The story of this game was really Carolina's goaltending lapsed. Frederik Andersen has been the best goaltender in the playoffs, had a really bad game, and that has not been the case for him throughout the playoffs so far. Even though I know Florida's probably the best team that they played so far. Maybe not quite the best offense that they played so far, but Florida is good. So I don't know, maybe nerves got to him. I don't know what happened, but I expect a bounce back from Andersen here. He's been so good in the playoffs. I don't think he's going to be as bad as he was in this game. Bobrovsky was really good, and he may be quite good again in this game for Florida, but I think Carolina's going to come out really, really angry here after a lopsided result like that. It was kind of misleading. It's definitely a prime zigzag spot, especially with a Carolina team that's very, very good on their home ice. So Carolina is the recommended play there. WNBA. We're going to have another zigzag here, and I am going to recommend the Indiana Fever minus 4.5, coming right back and playing the Atlanta Dream again with Brittany Griner on Atlanta now, who's most likely a man, by the way. Am I allowed to say that? No, I'm going to get nuked on this channel. I mean, I think everybody kind of knows it at this point, all right? Let's go to the WNBA here. We can look at this real quick. So I think this is a prime zigzag spot, man, because we know what happened in the last game, right? It was a bad spot for Indiana. I gave it out on the show. I recommended a play on the Atlanta Dream in this game because Indiana was coming off stomping the Chicago Sky, and that was that big Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese game, the huge rivalry that's been brought over to the WNBA from college. Huge win. And whenever you have a game that's hyped like that and you win in a blowout, you're going to have a letdown coming off of that. And Atlanta was coming off just an ugly performance coming into that game, losing as a favorite, I think, to Washington. So Atlanta was in a big-time bounce-back spot. I think Washington had shot, really well against Atlanta in that game, inexplicably well. And Chicago shot, ridiculously poorly in this game. So there was some regression that was going to happen. And Atlanta wound up winning the game. I was right about this. I nailed this one, man. Nailing the WNBA, baby. The first time I'm actually analyzing it on the show and giving it out. I don't even know who most of these players are, but Atlanta had a lead the entire way, man. I mean, they had a huge lead, and they almost blew it. They completely almost blew it as they only scored one more point, I think, in the final minute of the game, pretty much, or 2 more points, I guess, in the final 4 minutes, of the game. And Indiana actually came all the way back and actually tied the game, and they actually took the lead at the end there, and then Atlanta won at the end. That was a big upset for Atlanta, man. I mean, when you beat Caitlin Clark, you're an underdog like that. The line looks like it actually closed 6.5. So I'd seen 8.5 that day, though. So I was like, oh, well, the 8 actually may have not been the best number, but 6.5. If you got the 8, you definitely crushed the closing number on that. But now Atlanta's in the spot where now I think they're going to get hit by the zigzag as they had the lead this entire game. They won. They pulled off a big win over Caitlin Clark's team as an underdog. Huge win for Atlanta. Indiana did not play their best game at all. They were in a bad spot. So now I think this is the spot for Indiana to bounce back and get this one. And this is going to be quick road revenge, too, which is a really strong angle in basically any sport. When you lose at home to some team and then you play them again right away on the road, you come out with a lot of intensity, and I think that's what we're going to get from the Fever. We're going to get the Fever here. And the one thing that I guess worries me a little bit is that the Fever actually did shoot really well in this game, and they still lost the game. 47.1% from three is crazy. I mean, they're highly doubtful they're going to shoot that well again, but even so, still think it's a zigzag spot. Indiana's up from 3 to 4.5 already, so missing out on some of the best numbers there, but I would just try to get in on the best number you can. I mean, money line would be a way to look at this too for Indiana. Either one of those I don't mind at all, but I think Indiana does get the bounce back here. They get the revenge, quick revenge. They get the zigzag spot. They played a pretty bad game for almost that entire game. Had to make that comeback. And then Atlanta still wound up getting that huge upset win. I don't think they do it again. I think Indiana's going to be the team that has the adjustments to make. 3 zigzag plays for you. The T-Wolves, the Hurricanes, and the Fever, I think all are in spots where they're going to be the team that's able to make the adjustments to win here. And then you got Liberty and Chicago. And I know the Liberty are coming off a big win over the Aces, which that was a big matchup for them. 2 really good teams. So I would not want to lay, 12 points on the road here, up from 11 with juice to 12 now on the Liberty. They are the way better team over Chicago. Even though Chicago has Angel Reese, they're getting no respect in the market because they're not a good team. It looks like a really, really high price to lay, and it's not a really good spot for the Liberty. And the Liberty actually have a big game next against Indiana as well, against the Fever. So it's kind of a sandwich spot, so I would only lean towards taking the points with the Sky there, Chicago. And Chicago, of course, coming off that embarrassing bad loss to Indiana. So I think they're going to really want to play better in that one. So I would look towards grabbing the points for Chicago. Not going to recommend a play on that one, though. MLB, I actually hate the MLB card because we have a lot of situations where teams are trying to avoid sweeps here. We have a lot of sweep potential here, and I actually like the starting pitching matchup in favor of the sweep in most of those games. So one of those is the first one up, Texas and the New York Yankees. Yankees won yesterday. Close game. I mean, I think both teams use a decent amount of I think the Yankees actually used more of their pen yesterday because DeGrom, I think, actually was pitching for Texas. And I think he actually went deeper into the game, and they still didn't win. A shockingly good performance from that Yankees pitcher, Yarbrough, but they did have to use way more of their relief staff. So that is one factor that's against the Yankees there, is that their bullpen is less rested than Texas, and both teams have pretty decent bullpens. Nathan Eovaldi is on the mound for Texas. He's having a great season, 1.61 ERA, .77 whip. Didn't do quite that well in his last start against Houston with 3 walks, but I wouldn't say that he's like in bad form all of a sudden, though, because his previous 2 starts, he had a 14-2 strikeout walk ratio across those. He's pitching really well. One of the some of the best stats in all of baseball, 65-8 strikeout walk ratio is insane. 39 hits allowed, 61 1/3. But this is a tough undertaking here against the Yankees in the Bronx. The Yankees have one of the best offenses. They've seen a lot of Eovaldi over the years. 126 at bats, 294 average, and 746 OPS for the Yankees. So the Yankees have hit him fairly well, especially Judge is 14 for 38 with 2 home runs and 3 walks. So player prop alert on Judge there if you want to look for some player props. And LeMahieu was 16 for 58, or excuse me, 16 for 50, for 320 average with 1 home run. But Judge really rakes against him. So again, hits plus runs plus RBIs is the way to do it because the walk might not get wasted. If you play total bases, the walk doesn't count for anything. At least hits plus runs plus RBIs, at least a walk can get you an RBI and or a run. So Judge looks like a player prop potential there because he hits Eovaldi really well. So I don't love Eovaldi. I mean, I did look at his career stats at Yankee Stadium, and they're not that bad. He has like a career 3-something ERA in the stadium. So the stadium for him isn't that bad. But Carlos Rodon, I mean, I think he continues to kind of be under the radar. I mean, he's pitching well. 3.17 ERA, 0.99 whip. Yes, he also walked too many guys in his last outing. It's a good Mets lineup. 4 walks, though, so that's not a great sign. But prior to that, he had 15 strikeouts and 1 walk in the previous 2 starts. So I wouldn't say he's in bad form right now either. Huge strikeout rate on the season, 72 strikeouts and 59 2/3. Only 35 hits allowed and 24 walks. Both of these pitchers have been really good. But Rodon has the better matchup numbers here. So Eovaldi's numbers are not great against the Yankees at all. Rodon in 66 at-bats against the Rangers, who certainly have the lesser offense out of these two teams. 197 average and 565 OPS. So I do lean to the Yankees, but I would probably only make it a first 5-inning play because Rodon has the way better matchup numbers. I don't know that I really want to fade Eovaldi with how well he is pitching right now. Yankees are up from -150 to -155. You're always going to pay probably too much on the Yankees because they are the Yankees. 69% of tickets, 78% of the cash coming in on them. If I was going to do it, because the Yankees used their bullpen so much yesterday, because Texas, I think, is really going to be fighting to try to avoid the sweep, the starting pitching matchup is what favors the Yankees here the most, in my opinion. So I would look for first 5 innings, Yankees, maybe on the money line, but you probably have to pay maybe even higher than this. I haven't looked, but it might be around like -160. So maybe do like a run line or something and pay a little bit for that, something like that. That is the way that I would lean, though, in that one. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right. San Diego, Toronto. I mean, I like San Diego to try to avoid a sweep as well. Not only are they trying to avoid a sweep, but they've been embarrassed in this series. They haven't even scored a run, even though San Diego's offense is actually pretty good. They've scored 0 in 2 games. They've been outscored by a combined 17-0, including a 14-0 loss yesterday. That's embarrassing. So you've got to think San Diego is going to want to bounce back from that. But I don't know if this is the right pitching matchup to do it, man. I'm sorry. Again, Kolek, yeah, he's been good this year. 2.33 ERA, 1.14 whip for San Diego. But he's coming off an ugly outing against Seattle. 5 earned runs allowed, 3 home runs allowed. He did have a 4-to-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is still pretty good. But a lot of his stats, I think, are skewed a little bit by that complete game shutout of Colorado, even though it was at Coors Field. So that is impressive. But Colorado, one of the worst offenses in baseball. So I don't know that Kolek is actually really as good as he might appear. And Toronto's just 1 for 3 off him. Bichette has the only hit. So there's not a whole lot to take away from that. But I don't know if we trust Kolek. Bowden Francis for Toronto has definitely been struggling this year. After he was really good in the second half of last season, he's been awful recently. Just, it's pretty sad because I kind of like him. 5.63 ERA, 1.4 whip. That's not going to get the job done. Last outing, didn't even make 5 innings. 2 of his last 3, or actually, we'll go 4 of his last 5 outings. He hasn't even made it 5 innings, allowing at least 3 earned runs in every one of those starts. So he is not in good form right now. So I definitely worry about that. Overall, his numbers, not even that great, really. Fewer than 1 strikeout per inning. I mean, the walk rate is a little bit low, but more than 1 hit allowed per inning. Numbers really aren't that great for Francis. And up against San Diego, they are good, though, but only 7 at-bats, 143 average, 393 OPS. So when they have seen him in a small sample size, he has done well against them. But I don't think I can play on Toronto here, man. I mean, Francis is in bad form. San Diego is in an embarrassed spot here where I think they're going to really try to fight to get this win. So I'm going to stay off of it because I don't trust Kolek either. The money is coming in on San Diego as it's flipped them from a +102 dog to a -125 favorite. So the odds makers are really disrespecting our boy Bowden here as they are lining the Padres as a favorite here on the road, even though they've lost both games in the series so far in Toronto. He's playing really well right now. Coming back from having a really ugly start to the season. 88% of tickets, 92% of the cash on San Diego, though. So the money is coming in on that side. It looks like the public is kind of on that side, too, which kind of surprises me based on the recency bias that you would think the public might have. But that looks like the money is coming in on San Diego there, so I will say that. And it is, to some degree, coming in on the Yankees, too, by the way. 70% of tickets, 78% of the cash. Philadelphia is on the verge of a sweep. I mean, not surprisingly, against Colorado. Although it is one of these weird spots where it's getaway day, so a lot of these teams are going to be kind of potentially looking ahead to what's next. And maybe if you've already won 2 games of the series, maybe you're kind of just not paying attention. Philadelphia is a monster favorite in this game, so there's no way that I think you could lay like any sort of price with Philadelphia like that. They do have the pitching edge. I mean, how could you not against most of Colorado's pitchers? Ranger Suarez, or Ranger Suarez, I believe is how you actually pronounce his name, pitching for Philadelphia. He came back off the disabled list or whatever not that long ago. His ERA doesn't look good, 5.09. He gave up 7 runs in his first outing back against Arizona, but since then he's been really good. He went 7 innings in the other 2 starts. In each of the other 2, 11-2 strikeout walk ratio in those 2 games, allowing only 3 total runs across those 2 starts. Granted, it was against Cleveland and Pittsburgh, who aren't great offensively. His 5.09 ERA is a little bit misleading, though. 1.13 whip, telling you that he's pitching better than his ERA actually is. He is in good form right now, and he has done well against Colorado in the past. 47 at-bats, 170 average allowed, 554 OPS. Is that what that said? Yeah, so Suarez has been pretty good against Colorado, but again, this is Coors Field. So it's a little bit of a different animal. Philadelphia might take their foot off the gas a little bit here just because they've already won both games in the series. They might not take Colorado seriously, but German Marquez for Colorado is just awful. I don't know how he's even still in baseball, to be honest, in Major League Baseball. 8.78 ERA, 1.83 whip. I mean, you got to be kidding me. This deep into the season, you're putting almost 2 men on base per inning, and your ERA is almost 9. I mean, that's insane. I mean, even if you do pitch at Coors Field, that's just ridiculous. 21-16 strikeout walk ratio is awful. He doesn't strike guys out. A bit too many walks. He's kept the home runs down somehow, even though pitching in Coors Field, he's only allowed 4 home runs, but he's allowed 57 hits in 40 innings. That is not good. And against Philadelphia, his numbers aren't good in a huge 117 at-bat sample size. 333 average, 924 OPS, so none of that is good either. Schwarber, player prop alert there, is 6 for 17 with 2 home runs and 3 walks off of him. So I could look that way as well for player props. Castellanos, 5 for 12 with a home run. Baum, 6 for 11 with a home run. So a few guys really rake against him there. I'm going to stay away from that game completely as well. Anaheim and the A's. This is another, dude, every one of these is a potential sweep. All of these first 4 games feature a team on the verge of a sweep. Anaheim, I don't know how they're doing this. They swept the Dodgers, and now they're on the verge of potentially sweeping the A's. I mean, I know the A's have really actually been quite bad at home this year, and maybe it does actually continue here because, again, I actually think the pitching matchup does favor Anaheim, even though Anaheim is usually where pitchers basically die. Tyler Anderson is somehow pitching really well this season, even though he's on Anaheim, who doesn't have good pitching coaches. He's in his mid-30s, but he's got a 3.04 ERA and 1.09 whip, and he's never really been this good in his career. His last start wasn't great, but it was against the Dodgers, so you might give him a pass for allowing 4 runs in that one, but he's been decent overall this season. I mean, his numbers aren't really that terrific. He's allowed 9 home runs, which is definitely a concern. 43-17 strikeout walk ratio isn't that good. Only 38 hits, though, in 50 and the third innings pitch is good. He's really limited the amount of hits that he's allowed. And against the A's and 48 at-bats, he has been good, except for the 7 walks, although 3 of them are rookers, so maybe you can take a little bit less away from that. 167 average and 564 OPS. So Anderson has actually pitched well against the A's, but I don't know if we really want to jump in on Anderson, though, pitching in this stadium in Sacramento, I think, for the first time, because I don't think he's faced the A's this year so far. So pitcher pitching in this park for the first time, it's a totally new ball game, pun intended, I guess, where this pitching park is just very hitter conducive. So I don't know. With Anderson allowing that many home runs, it might not be the best ballpark to actually back him in. So I do have hesitations about that, even though he does have the better matchup numbers and better overall season numbers over Severino pitching for the A's, who's been okay. 4.22 ERA, 1.27 whip. Coming off a shutout at San Francisco, which is pretty good. Bouncing back from an awful start against the Yankees, where he allowed 8 earned runs. He's kind of been back and forth. He's walked way too many guys this year, though. 45-20 strikeout walk ratio is terrible, although he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. 56 and 59 and 2/3. But against Anaheim, he actually hasn't been that good in 59 career at-bats. 19-0 strikeout walk ratio is good, but a 271 average, 678 OPS is just kind of mediocre. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not at the point where I want to fade Oakland, but it does look like the money is heavily coming in on Anaheim and not on Oakland or the A's, the homeless Sacramento A's. I mean, you would think that the A's could be the right way to look because they're trying to avoid the sweep here, but the money is all coming in on Anaheim. I think, yeah, they do have the starting pitching edge still in this game, even though I don't think I would trust Anderson in this ballpark. But 54% of the tickets are on the A's, but 72% of the cash coming in on Anaheim. So the public still doesn't buy Anaheim. I don't either, but in this pitching matchup, it might not be the worst way to look at. Those are strong market indicators, man. So I usually would not want to fade a strong market read like that. Patrick, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. I don't really get the egg reference. All right. Next up, we do finally get into some games where new series are starting. Cleveland is coming into Detroit, coming off finally breaking their loss streak. They'd lost 5 games in a row. Cleveland might be a little bit more rested, too, because they had a postponement. Although, did they only play 1 game yesterday, or did they play 2? Let me see. So they might not be as rested. Let me see, because those games were all getting shifted around, man. Oh, no, so they completed the game from Monday that got suspended. They finished that game yesterday, and then they played a full game yesterday as well. So they played like 1.5 games yesterday, so it might not be the best way to look to go towards Cleveland here. I would worry about that just because they played an extra half game yesterday, but the day before that, they didn't play at all. So take from that what you will because of all the rainouts there. But now they're going from Minnesota into Detroit. Detroit is actually returning home from a road trip from Toronto and St. Louis. They didn't really go that far. But I always point out the teams returning home from road trips, when they're coming back home, they got family life to return to, so sometimes they have stuff to do. It can be a little bit of a distraction, especially if you're Detroit and you just won those last 2 series on the road. Feeling pretty good about yourselves probably at this point, so I don't think it's the greatest spot to back Detroit here either. So I don't really love how it sets up for either team, to be honest. And Detroit had a bullpen game yesterday, so their bullpen is a little bit burned out after yesterday as well, in my opinion, even though I know historically with bullpen games, teams on the playing in the game after the bullpen game actually tend to do pretty well because a lot of times they have like a good starter lined up in that next start. And Detroit has an okay starter in this one, but I still think Detroit's going to be going to the bullpen in this game because Flaherty has not gone that deep into a lot of these games. So Detroit, their bullpen's okay, but they're going to be going to a pretty used up bullpen in this game most likely. So I don't know if I can trust that at all. Don't know if I can trust Cleveland either, although Tanner Bibby is on the mound for them. He is probably their best starter, but not doing well this year, really. 4.06 ERA, 1.29 whip. I mean, he's been starting to kind of turn it around a little bit. Had a little bit of a rough outing in his last outing at Cincinnati, giving up a ton of hits, 10 hits in 6 innings pitched, but it was at a hitting-friendly ballpark, so I think I can give him a pass for that. I mean, he has pitched pretty decently since a couple of really rough starts in April. He's been pretty good since then. That was his worst start since then. Since then, he'd allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 4 straight starts, so I think he is pitching okay. And against Minnesota, he's been good. 68 at-bats, a 191 average, 530 OPS. That does include a recent start, though, so Minnesota did just recently face him at the end of April, but that was also one of his best starts of the season, a 1-run, 5-hit, 7-inning, 5 strikeout, no walk performance. So that was a good start from Bibby. He does well against. Oh wait, I was looking at Minnesota. Oh, my apologies. Oh, holy crap. Never mind. I can't believe I was handicapping this like he's facing Minnesota. He's not. He's facing Detroit. I apologize for that. Holy crap. Against Detroit, no, never mind. His numbers are way worse than 100 at-bats, 307 average, and 850 OPS. You do not want any part of Bibby in this game, in my opinion. That's a big sample size. So my mistake. Scratch that. I apologize. His numbers against Detroit are not good. Jack Flaherty hasn't really been pitching, up to, I guess, his standards since he's returned to Detroit here. 4.44 ERA. 1.22 whip, not great. I mean, he hasn't been going deep into games. He hasn't gone 6 innings since April 22nd. Strikeout walk ratio has been fine, 18-4 in the month of May, but a 6.91 ERA, more than 1 hit per inning. Something is off, although he did allow 4 home runs against Texas somehow, but he's allowed 4 or 5 and 2 earned runs in these starts. Not really against great lineups either, so I don't know what's going on with Flaherty, but there's something kind of wrong with Flaherty right now, it looks like. And Cleveland has seen him a bunch up against Cleveland, but he has done well against them in 85 at-bats, 176 average, 513 OPS. So I think Flaherty does actually have the matchup edge here. I just don't want to play Detroit in their return home spot, but the money is coming in on Detroit there. And like I said, the starting pitching matchup does seem to favor Detroit quite a bit with those lopsided matchup stats. Detroit sitting up from minus 135 to minus 136 now. 77% of tickets, 82% of the cash coming in on them. Maybe a first 5-inning play would be the way to go so you don't have to deal with Detroit's bullpens if you do like Detroit. But they might start off a little bit distracted, though, because, again, it's a return home spot. So I don't even know if I would love that, to be honest, the first 5-inning play on Detroit. So, again, that's a stay away. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh, total mystery here. We don't even know who's going to start for Milwaukee here. Milwaukee just lost to Baltimore, which is kind of embarrassing. So now you have an embarrassing loss like that. You're going to go out on the road. You're probably going to play a little bit better, but they used a ton of their bullpen yesterday in an 11-inning game, so I don't know that it's going to be that great of a spot for them. I mean, look at this. They used 7 relief pitchers yesterday in that game that went 11 innings. So even though, yeah, it was an embarrassing loss, usually when you go out on the road, it tends to be a focus spot for your team, but there's no way that you can play Milwaukee full game here because they just used way too much of their bullpen, and their bullpen has been bad this year as well. Pittsburgh, I mean, their bullpen isn't that great either. But we don't even know who Milwaukee's starter is going to be in this game, so that's a complete mystery. Pittsburgh has Burrows starting, and he's basically a complete mystery too, as he only has one career start in Major League Baseball, it wasn't even a start. It was a relief appearance, last year for Pittsburgh, and it wasn't great. I can find the game log here. It was against the Yankees, though, so maybe you give him a bit of a pass. He went 3 1/3. He gave up a home run, but he gave up 3 walks and 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. He was putting a lot of guys on base there. Maybe he had nerves. I mean, pitching in the Bronx, not that easy to do. Yankees, very good lineup, so I don't know if there's really that much we can take away from that. Burrows, if you look at his minor league stats, though, his minor league stats haven't been that good recently with like an ERA like up in the 5s. That's not really a great sign. I know he does have a decent pitching arsenal, and I think he's had multiple injuries that he's been dealing with, which has kind of delayed his rise up to the major leagues here. He does throw like a decent fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, like kind of a typical 4-pitch arsenal that could land you in a team starting rotation. We'll see how he does today, but I don't really want any part of him. I know Milwaukee's never seen him before, but he's not a guy that looks like he has stuff that really like blows people away. So there's no way you can get involved in that game. That is the big wild card game of the day. No pun intended on that one. Atlanta-Washington didn't play yesterday, so I handicapped the same pitching matchup yesterday because this was going to be the pitching matchup yesterday. And I leaned to Atlanta, and I still do, but I don't quite want to play it. Washington used a lot of their bullpen in the prior game, too, so now their bullpen is a little bit rested here, although Washington's bullpen is pretty bad. So I would say Atlanta probably has the edge like all around in this game. I do think they have the edge in the pitching matchup, as I pointed out yesterday. Smith-Shawver, 2.33 ERAs, a little bit misleading as his 1.24 whip is not really as good, but he's been a fine pitcher this year, really. More than 1 strikeout per inning. Too many walks, 40-17 ratio there. 31 hits allowed and 38 2/3 is good. Not allowing a lot of hits. Washington did just see him, though, although I think both teams just saw these opposing pitchers, so that kind of is a wash as well. He pitched well. He shut out Washington for 6 innings. Only gave up 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. That was good overall against Washington, including that start in 28 at-bats, 143 average, 404 OPS. So Smith-Shawver, I think, does have the edge here over Trevor Williams, who just has awful numbers this year. 5.91 ERA, 1.53 whip. And he didn't do well in his last game out, which was against Atlanta. Like I said, a 4.0 strikeout walk ratio was good, but he didn't even make it through 5 innings. Gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and 4 1/3. The defense let him down a little bit too, but he's just not pitching well overall, man. Doesn't strike guys out, low strikeout rate, way more than 1 hit per inning, 58 and 45 and 2/3. Only 38 strikeouts, 12 walks isn't that bad, but still, he's not a great pitcher. But against Atlanta, his numbers are actually okay in 136 at-bats, 257 average, 676 OPS. So I don't quite want to jump in and fade Williams here. I don't want to play Atlanta at a kind of steep price like this, but I do lean that way. They do have the advantage in this game. Starting pitching matchup, bullpen certainly. Hitting, I think you might have to give to Atlanta slightly as well. They're sitting at a minus 150 favorite, though. 80% of tickets, 88% of the cash coming into them. So I think the cash percentage is agreeing with it, although yesterday it seemed like it kind of wasn't. I would have to go back and look and see where the percentages wound up yesterday, but we'll see what happens. Lean to Atlanta there. Baltimore and Boston. Red Sox lost yesterday to the Mets. The Red Sox, of course, kind of wrecked their bullpen situation because of Buehler getting thrown out of the game before that. That was a terrible call. Crochet didn't get deep into this game, man. I don't know why they didn't leave him in longer than 85 pitches. I mean, I don't know if he got hurt or if there was rain or what was going on there, but because it is a little bit rainy up here in Boston the last couple of days. Crochet, normally he's going to go like 90 to 100 pitches probably because he's a grinder, man. I mean, he's an ace. He pitched well in the game yesterday, but it wasn't enough as the Red Sox offense couldn't really do much of anything. And McGill only went 4 2/3, so it does look like there was some sort of rain delay in this game because he went 85 pitches as well. So you probably would have expected both pitchers would have stayed in the game longer if they could. The Red Sox actually kind of saved their bullpen a little bit, even though Hendricks blew the game for them. But they used Newcomb, who's kind of their innings eater, not a very good pitcher. But so the Red Sox didn't really use that much of their bullpen. They are kind of in a bounce back spot coming off that loss. Baltimore coming off finally breaking their loss streak, man. They were kind of the like punching bag. Like they were the team everybody was making fun of. They lost 8 games in a row. Finally won the game against Milwaukee to break that long losing streak. So I think that's good because that kind of halts that losing momentum for them. But again, it was an 11-inning game. So do you really want to play on Baltimore off of using a bunch of their bullpen? I think you probably do not. Even though it is, I think, a focus spot for them. Povich hasn't been good this year. 5.23 ERA, 1.45 whip for Baltimore. He's struggling. Good start in his last time out against a weak Washington lineup, I think, but 9-2 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. So he does have glimpses of something, but 38 strikeouts and 41 1/3. That's not a horrible strikeout rate. 14 walks, 8 home runs allowed. That's a little bit too high, and 46 hits allowed. All of that is too high. So he's been too hittable, but the Red Sox actually have not done well against him historically. In 46 at-bats, he's held him to 217 average, 613 OPS, so they have not done well against him, except Ref Snyder, 4 for 7 with a home run, so a little bit of a player prop potential there, but other than that, the Red Sox haven't hit him well, so it's not really the worst matchup for Povich. And Giolito pitching for the Red Sox has not been doing well for them. 7.08 ERA, 1.52 whip. I mean, what are these acquisitions the Red Sox were going after, man? Giolito and Buehler, that's really going to be how you stack your starting rotation. I mean, of course, Crochet, obviously a very good pickup. I mean, he's going to be good wherever he goes. But, I mean, these guys are not going to be, they're not getting it done for the Red Sox, man. Giolito has had basically one good start this entire season against a weak Kansas City lineup. Wasn't great in any of the other starts. 2 of the starts are terrible against Texas and Atlanta. Okay start against Toronto, but he's coming off that ugly start against Atlanta. Maybe he'll bounce back. I mean, a 17-6 strikeout walk ratio isn't that bad. Well over 1 hit per inning, though, and 5 home runs allowed in 20 1/3. That's not good. 3 home runs allowed against Atlanta. He's allowing all these home runs, man, so that's not great. I mean, that was in Fenway Park, and that's where he's going to be here. Didn't allow any home runs in his other start, but still allowed 6 runs. He's been awful at Fenway Park, man. His 2 starts at Fenway. So why the hell would you get this guy if he can't pitch in Fenway? He's allowed 6 earned runs in each start in Fenway. He's allowed 12 across 7 2/3 innings. So his 2 really horrific starts were both in Fenway. So why would you want this guy? He has a 14.09 home ERA, 474 home opponent batting average, 2.84 ERA on the road, and 159 opponent batting average. So it's night and day home and away, and also his night starts have been awful, probably because at least one of them was in Fenway with a 9.88 ERA, 377 batting average at night so far. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but it's just hilarious. 1.35 ERA during the day and 0.95 average during the day. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, and this is a night game, by the way. It's 6:45 p.m., so it will be getting dark during the game. So all of the worst aspects of Giolito's splits are coming in here, so I don't think you want any part of this guy. And against the Baltimore Orioles, his numbers are okay in 67 at-bats. 20-1 strikeout walk ratio is really good, but 254 average, 664 OPS, those are okay numbers. But based on the way he's been going this year, I don't think you play either team here, man, at all. There are a lot of conflicting factors here, man, because I know I just seem to kind of make a case for the over here. Baltimore's bullpen is probably not in good shape coming into this game. They might not do well. Giolito might not do well here, but I'm just going to stay away from it. The number is actually dropping towards the under from 9.5 down to 8.5, juice the under. 73% of tickets on the over, 82% of the cash on the under. So significant movement on the under. And finally, last game that we're going to talk about is the play that I'm going to recommend. It is on the Seattle Mariners. Even though Houston did lose yesterday at home, so they're going to try to bounce back from that here today. I don't love the starting pitching matchup, though. Houston, yeah, I know they didn't use a lot of their bullpen yesterday, so that's good. They have a good bullpen for the most part, so Houston's bullpen is in fine shape. Seattle's bullpen isn't really in bad shape coming off that win over the White Sox either, though. I mean, they used some of their better relievers, sure, but they didn't really tax their bullpen yesterday either. And Seattle does have a pretty good bullpen as well, so I think the bullpens are a bit of a wash coming into this game. Seattle is coming in from Chicago where they barely beat the White Sox, so I think they're going to be focused on this game as they're coming in and facing Houston, who seems to be the team that always wins this division. So I do think Seattle is going to have games like this circled, right? And this is the first time they're playing Houston this year, and Houston, like I said, tends to be the team that wins this division usually. Seattle usually falls apart. We also got George Kirby pitching, and he's making his first start of the season coming back from injury. And I know there are differing opinions on this. There are guys that don't like to play pitchers coming back from injury. My opinion is I think you're actually getting value on the pitchers coming back from injury. I know we're laying a price on the road here, so the odds makers are telling you, I'm a little bit less worried about laying a price on the road here because the odds makers are telling you Seattle has a big advantage in this game by lining them as a favorite. So that's what I'm going with here. Kirby, I mean, you would expect that the public would not really want to be on a guy coming back from injury because it's like, oh, this is shaky. You don't know what to expect. But if he's going to pitch in a game, that means the team is telling you he's ready to go. Usually it means they've gone through the rehab starts. They pitched in the minors. I assume that's been the case with Kirby. So it's not like he's coming in completely cold either. That's not how this works. So he should be ready to go. He hasn't pitched yet this season, but he's been really good for Seattle. As you can see, over his entire 3-season career so far, 3.43 ERA, 1.09 WHIP, a ridiculous 7.6 strikeout walk ratio is unbelievably insane. He doesn't strike guys out. I mean, he doesn't walk. He doesn't strike out one guy per inning. A little bit less than that, but he doesn't walk anybody. I mean, he's really, really good. I mean, his strikeout walk ratio is one of the best that you'll see. So he's actually he's debatably one of the best pitchers in this staff, although he does have some weird, like really bad starts on the road. But I trust him here against the Houston Astros, man. His career numbers against Houston are ridiculous. In 91 at-bats, so a huge sample size. He has a 19-1 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 0 extra base hits, 198 average, and 413 OPS. You usually don't see domination like this in this large of a sample size. Houston, their offense a little bit less good than it has been in the past. So these hitters have been dominated statistically, career-wise, by Kirby. Lance McCullers Jr. pitching for Houston. Yeah, I expect him to start turning it around because his career numbers have been okay, but he's just not getting it done this year so far. 7.88 ERA, 2.13 WHIP, so he is really struggling to come back from a huge injury layoff. Whereas Kirby, by the way, his layoff has been a lot less than this. He was pitching late last season, so he has not had that much time away from baseball. McCullers is trying to come back from more time off. And yeah, I mean, he hasn't allowed any earned runs in 2 of his 3 starts, sure, but he didn't go 5 innings in either of them. He's walked more than he struck out overall, 7 walks to 6 strikeouts, more than 1 hit per inning and almost 1 run per inning, putting more than 2 men on base per inning, so not good, especially against some kind of weak lineups here, although the 2 weak lineups, the White Sox and the Rangers, those are the games he did well against. Cincinnati, I mean, they don't really kill you offensively, though, and he got killed. He was awful against them, so I don't know if we could trust McCullers here, man. His numbers against Seattle historically are okay in 63 at-bats, but he has allowed a couple of home runs. Arozarena 5 for 11 with a home run off, and Polanco 1 for 2 with a home run. So some of these Seattle hitters have hit him pretty well. 254 average is pretty decent, but a 782 OPS. I like to look at the OPS a little bit more because he has walked 8 of them as well. 21 strikeouts is good, but 8 walks, and he's just not in good form right now, man. So he has not come back into form yet. So I like Kirby in this matchup quite a bit. So that's where we're going to go here in this game. Seattle will be the play. They're up from -120 to -132, so the money looks like it is agreeing with that. 54% of tickets, 62% of the cash coming in on Seattle. So that is what we'll go with in this particular game. And that's going to do it for me, man. I don't know if there's anything else I have to say about it. I mean, it is sad. I want McCullers to turn it around and start doing better so we can get some value on him once he starts doing better, some sneaky value there. That's going to do it. So just like 2 days ago, it's one play in each sport, and hopefully it goes as it did 2 days ago when I went 4-0 on the show. We got the Minnesota T-Wolves in the zigzag, plus the points in the NBA. Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL in the zigzag on the money line as the small favorite. Indiana Fever in the zigzag / quick road revenge angle in the WNBA minus the points. And Seattle Mariners money line is a road favorite, I know, but I think it is... the odds makers are telling you what to think in this game, in my opinion. So those are the plays I'm recommending today. As I pointed out, not actually playing them right now until I get some more stability here again financially. That's going to do it for now. Thanks, guys, for hanging out earlier in the show here in the chat. Scott, Andrew, Patrick, everybody else who was in here, thanks for hanging out. Those are the guys in the chat. Let's have a good one. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter. Go support my fundraiser, man. GiveSendGo.com/TowerGangToad, and you can help fund my recovery, help me bridge the gap here a little bit. Potential legal expenses. Well, I don't even know if I'm gonna even take any action there. Who even knows, man? We'll see what happens. But help me fund my way, through this time here, and help me figure out what's next in life, I guess is the way that I should say it. And yeah, Tower Gang. Of course, we had another show last night where we, of course, talked about all of that. So you can go check that out. I'll be putting that up, on the feeds probably shortly. Patreon.com/TowerGang to support Tower Gang. We're going to be live at Bohemian Grove in basically a month's time in Leesburg, Florida. So come out and see us for that. And I will be, I've been doing some shows. So I got on InfoWars yesterday. So you can go check that out on American Journal with Harrison Smith. Good guy. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Told my story. Maybe could have just kind of slammed, the angle a little bit more about how this is kind of like cultural blowback is why this stuff is all happening. Maybe I'll get to that today because I'm going to be recording with Elijah Schaefer this afternoon as well. So I'll be on his show, probably his comedy show, but I'm not even sure, actually. We'll see which show he wants to do. So I don't know when that will actually drop, but that's going to be recorded today, I believe. So be on the lookout for all that. And that's going to do it. Peace out for now, man. Tower Gang.